handle the truth.
Oh, hey, I'm Jim Price, the Jim Price Show Daily Update. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Well, we're going to give you the date like the government does, just right up your... we're going to call it April 24th. It's a Friday, 2026. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here. Good to see you. And thank you guys for checking in on the chat. Oops, I need to bring that up over there. So, didn't get that done yet. All right. So this whole week has been a little bit disjointed because it seems like we're tackling a lot of things, but we're not doing... We are all being affected directly by the war in Iran, but we haven't dropped a bomb in 2 weeks. So I'm trying to figure out how that is possible, that we all seem to think that there's this continuing skirmish that goes along with, oh, wait, but it doesn't affect us. It affects European Union. It's not a problem for us. And so this is a problem for me, is that everybody's, oh, no, oh, the Iran war, that's why gas is this way, and we all should be. No. Right now, what we're actually showing is a lot of this using the U.S. dollar thing isn't always the blessing that it should be. And the fact that we're trying to stabilize the world petroleum market, but here's the problem. We're getting drugged down along with the European Union, right? Because global oil prices are so high. But here's the problem. In America, our oil guys are making money hand over fist because they're pulling it out for the same dollar, but they're getting paid anywhere from $10 to $20 more per barrel than they were just a couple weeks ago. And there's no reason for it. There's no need for them to go out there and charge us the way they do. But here we are dealing with that right now. I was just rubbing some DMSO on my back. I was having a little bit of spasm back there, so I wanted to get that to calm down. So I was putting some DMSO with aloe on my back. If those of you guys were wondering what I was doing, this is my DMSO I use. If you guys are interested in it and what I use it for, get a hold of me. We'll talk about it. All right. Continuing on. Now, I wanted to play a video for you guys. This is actually fairly, probably a lot of you have seen this, but this is the immigration from South America that we've all been affected by. And Libs of TikTok, they've put out a little video here. But if you kind of look at it, it's like the crawling ants on this video. You're going to see how fast the migration actually happened in America. Now, let me go ahead and stop this so I can show you where we're at. And it starts in 2020, right after the election. So this is a point of, like, you need to really think about how we've got where we are in this whole thing. So stop that. I don't know why that's up there. Here we go. Look at this. Look at the red dots coming out of Mexico, Central America, South America, the Caribbean. See them all going across? Look at that. Isn't that breathtaking to see that? Like, how many are coming out of the Caribbean? How many are coming out of Venezuela? How many are coming out of Colombia? That is absolutely crazy. And it's just this overall, you can see where there's some hot spots across the country, but it is amazing how many just land evenly across everything. But that's what it looks like. Now, by the way, guys, that is a 30 million. That's not a representation of actually what happened, because they're only showing you at a 15 million. They're not actually, that's only half of what actually happened. So that's a real problem for us when we think about immigration and what we're all going through, and the fact that when they bring that many people in that fast, the society, it doesn't matter whether you have the will or want to or you think you're cool, the ability for society, the economy, things to balance out, for it, if you're bringing in 1%, 2%, there's a real nice trickle effect in there. But when you bring in that many, when you're bringing in basically 10% new people into America, that is overloading all the systems, and it cannot accommodate. It's not because we don't have the will. Let's say we're all, hey, we want everybody coming on. Oh, yeah, we love you, love you, love you. Come on, bring it on. But the problem is they've actually known that if you keep it around that 1% to 2% range, society is able to absorb and not be detrimentally affected by those people, and it actually ends up being a net positive. And that is true. But the problem is when you're going at 4 to 5 times the rate of what is actually healthy, or even 10 times the rate is what is healthy, that's when you're finding yourself in a point where it's like we're desperate to be able to see how to handle all this. It's a lot of people. It's too much. Things are being affected. Things are not better. Hey, Brenda, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. So that's where we have to be thankful about what we're seeing, and the idea that we are trying to get rid of the worst, and we are not. Gee, many Christmas, why did that go off? Ugh. So the idea that when you have the worst of the worst being taken out, we're not getting rid of everybody. If you actually look at the immigration numbers of what was brought in over 4 years, we've only hit around 3 million. Of the 30 million that were brought in. So in reality, when Trump is talking about we only want to get rid of the worst, we don't mind people coming in, but the problem is do it legally and then don't overwhelm the system, right? And that's really where that whole balance comes in for all that. So I could, when people talk about, I like always how they sprinkle some truth in here. And when you have this, you sprinkle the truth in there, you say, well, yeah, immigration works. Well, yeah, immigration works at a limited number. And that's where that is a big, big difference for that, right? So when you bring immigration in a limited number, it makes things work better. But when you're flooding things in, it's not. But then let's go ahead and get the bad ones out so they're not going to infect the rest of the apple cart. One bad apple, that whole adage, right? So there's a lot of that going on. Hey, Karen Walker, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. It's good to see you, and I hope your healing process is going well. So anyway, and that's kind of one of those, this is one of those conversations kind of hard to have because it's not the one that everybody gets all wrapped around the axle and emotional about, and they just want to know whether they're right or not. A lot of the stuff has to do with we have to get this right, and we have to know why we're doing that. Department of War planning retribution for failing allies, including suspending Spain from alliance and reviewing UK's claim for the Falkland Islands. What? What? The Falkland Islands? I haven't talked about that since I was in school. Falkland Islands. Wasn't there a whole Falkland Islands thing? Remember that? Geraldine Feraldo, remember there was a whole, I think there was I can't remember all that story, but I was younger then, right? All right, so we have been reporting here, so United States President Trump is hardly the man to forgive or forget a slight or a betrayal. See, again, this goes back to where, remember when Uncle Barry got up there and ran his mouth about Trump at that dinner, talked about him, the birther thing, this birth certificate, ha, 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 and all that? I still think a lot of this, I think that is the underlining drive behind every single, being president's great, doing all that's cool. That's just something to do. Fills his day up. But what it really was that. And then when he found out he would be able to go in and torpedo that and knew he could go in and actually help the country at the same time, I think it's exactly what he did. All right, today it arises that the Pentagon is exploring ways to punish NATO countries that failed to support the U.S. during the Iran conflict. Well, yeah. When you find out your friends don't show up, you find out when you say you need somebody or you say you're in danger or there's a problem or you're sick or you're injured, who shows up at the house, who brings you chicken soup, who goes to the hospital. You find out who your friends are, right? Well, yeah. So it's a whole thing. So this was first reported by Reuters, but was picked up by multiple outlets, primarily in the UK, where there is a widespread concern about the planning of U.S. review of the British claim of the Falkland Islands. I think it's great. I don't know, guys. It's just... So the report was the policy options are detailed in an email expressing frustration at our allies' perceived reluctance to help in Iran. I see, this is where, when we talk, remember I told you guys, I think a lot of this is expose the weakness of others and things that when people don't do what they say they could or could have done, blah, blah, blah. I think Trump has been just showing everybody exactly how that all works. And we're seeing how the people in Europe didn't show up, didn't say, oh, yeah, man, let's get in there. You need some help from us? You going in the Strait of Hormuz? Hey, let's do that. Let's be those people. Hey, yeah. We'll just make it an entire channel of boats. They won't even be able to get, we'll butt them butt to butt, right? No, we didn't get that. We got a, hey, you do you, boo. Let us know how it turns out, and we'll celebrate with you. That's not there when I need you. That's not, hey, we were actually protecting your guys' oil, and then you guys didn't show up. Like, why? I don't understand. Like, you guys are like, hey, we don't be reviewing my agreement with you because we're cool. What? Yeah, you didn't show up, partner. That's how it works. The memo also includes an option to consider reassessing U.S. diplomatic support for the longstanding European imperial possessions, such as the Falkland Islands near Argentina. Needless to say, the response by the Euro globalists was immediate. Oh, how dare you, clutching my pearls. Oh, don't be looking at my Falkland Islands. I have Falkland Islands. You don't look. All right, so on the other hand, NATO states there is no provision to oust Spain, while the UK reaffirms its sovereignty over the South American islands. No, that's ours. No, we peed on it. You can't touch it. That's me. We did that. That's us. That's me. We put the flag thing there, sovereign nation, under God, indivisible. No, that's you guys. Oh, you guys have the republic. We have the dictatorship. But we're going to tell you not to do things because we know. We know what's best. I don't know, bud. I don't know. I think there's something going on. I think there's, just seeing. I don't know. I just got this. You talk about realigning the Risk. Remember that board game Risk? You guys ever hear that? Where it's like a military game. It's like global dominance and all that. Well, I definitely think that Trump has reshuffled the deck. Stirred up the hornet's nest. Reshuffled the cards. I don't know what's the analogy you want to use there for that idea. Like, I think there's a lot going on here. I don't think we have even the idea of where it's going. So this Falkland Island thing, haven't heard about that in a minute, but all of a sudden now we're talking. I like it. I like it like that. All right, see what we got here. This is where we are no longer raising men with men. When women raise men, guys, listen, girls, I'm not saying that women don't try hard and don't do a great job, but when you get a story like this one here, a boy wanted a girl's phone number and demanded that she be his girlfriend so he could show her off to his friends, but he became enraged when he heard her answer. She said, "No, I'll knock the out of you right now," the young man said. And then he goes to pushing her down and stomping on her head. Guys, this is where if men are responsible for men and men hold each other accountable and men raise men, not women raising men, because it doesn't work. We've tried this for decades now. We've been trying it and trying it and trying it, and we keep trying it. We keep trying it. We keep trying it. We keep throwing more money at it. We keep throwing more laws at it. We keep throwing more judgments at it. We keep throwing more medication at it, and we keep making sure that fathers are not in the home, and then we wonder why this story exists. Because if another man had seen these tendencies in this young man where he was actually out there threatening and he thought he could talk that way or he could threaten somebody that's weaker than him, then a stronger man than him would have shown him that you do not pick on weaker. Because this is what it feels like. And the justice would have actually been administered when the young man was young, when he was in his learning years. But the sad part of it is now, because he doesn't respect authority and doesn't understand what he has to do to be a part of society, he does things like this because he wants what he wants. That selfish sin nature of the heart, right? He goes in and he does only what he wants the way he wants it. The ego. Because when he's not met with something that's bigger and badder than him, then he only thinks that he is the biggest and baddest. That's the only thing he thinks. And then somehow, some way, someone else is going to have to teach him that lesson, but it'll probably be in prison or maybe at a gun. in a street where nobody knows his name. See, this is a sad part of this. This is a true description of how our society has got here. See, when you take fathers out of the home, you don't no longer have that moral compass of the father. Get your booger hook out of your nose. When the fathers are necessary to make sure that they keep that balance of the man and the woman in the house. But when men are then demonized and turned into ATM machines for child support, we no longer have that continuity. We no longer have that authority in the home. And when women work in the masculine and they don't work in the effeminate, they become what they shouldn't be, which is aggressive. And then the man doesn't understand, the child growing up doesn't know what feminine looks like. It doesn't know how to be masculine, because the definition of femininity shows what the masculine really is. But we can continue down this path. You guys are doing great. Let's continue. I mean, hell, we've been doing it for 50, 60 years now, and it ain't working, so we'll just keep doing that. We'll just keep kicking fathers out of the home. It's working. Not at all. And I feel like I'm the one out here talking about how I, invented water and nobody's wanting to listen. That's the crazy part. It's not obvious. It's not the first answer that everybody wants to run to. It's not what people think of. And that right there is actually the really definition of what fathers provide, is that they make you think of where you should be. They make you think of differently than how you think about yourself and how you think you are and what you think you are and how great you think you are. Because, see, that's it. That's what the discerning thing does with fathers. Fathers are great about that discerning thing. They get that little half second of you making a decision right before you do something stupid. That's what discernment is. That's why we don't do stupid things, because that was instilled in us somehow, some way. But see, maybe there's a chance that maybe the father isn't there, but what if the grandfather was still there in the home? What if the brothers and sisters were still in the home? What if we were able to still pass down generational knowledge through the fathers that do exist, because we have generations in the home? We have first, second, third, and fourth generations. Why not? Why not the great-grandparents and the grandparents and the parent and the grandchild all in the same home? Continuity of care. We all know what family is. We all know what it's like to be a part of something. We all belong. How beneficial would that be to society to see that kind of security in people that walk around and don't have all these crazy thoughts in their head and all these medications they got to take, only because they had that balance of that continuity of generational knowledge being passed through the home? But we don't talk like that, right? That's not a big part of it. We don't want to say those things. Oh, so here's a Mendondi. You know that guy in New York? He said he was going to give everybody free. Yeah, they were going to give away free. They were going to give away free. Like everything was free. Free. So here's the thing. If nothing has value, then what is of value? In New York, if there's nothing of value, if buses don't have value, food doesn't have value, homes don't have a value, what has value? If anybody can stay at the Ritz-Carlton because they're an immigrant, because they broke laws and got over here and they were given, here's the thing. If having a Ritz-Carlton hotel room is not something to achieve, then what value is it? If it's free, there is no value. If food is free, then there is no value, right? If buses are free, there is no value. Nothing is earned, nothing is gained, nothing is struggled. There's no positive, negative there. See, the bad part of it is that when you do things like that, when you give away that thing that was something where there's not an agreement, between people, when it's just a government, it brings out the worst in people. It does not make people better. It does not make them stronger. It does not make them more resourceful. It does not get them out of the poverty loop. It makes them weaker. It really does. This is something I didn't realize this was going to happen, but we'll see how this writes out here. The Justice Department on Friday dropped the criminal investigation into Fed Chairman Jerome Powell. This clears the way for Trump's Fed Chair nominee Kevin Warsh to be confirmed. Senator Tom Tillis. Let's try this again. Thom Tillis. Promise that's the way it was said, right? That was right. Vowed to block Trump's Fed Chair confirmation until the Justice Department dropped its investigation to Powell. Okay. Oh, we'll pick it back up next week. Here's the thing. Let's say the DOJ dropped the investigation because they already have a grand jury criminal indictment. Be careful what you ask for, Mr. Thom Tillis. Man, what kind of, that's kind of a tough, that would be a tough name, right? To be Thom. Do you just go Tom? Do you do Thom or Tom? Am I saying that wrong? I feel like I'm saying it wrong. Is it Thom? Is Thom? Like Thomas? Hi, my name is Thomas. Is it Thomas or Tom? Thom Tillis? I keep saying it enough, it'll eventually make it up as I go along. This morning, the Inspector General for the Federal Reserve has been asked to scrutinize the building cost overruns and the billions of dollars that have been borne by the taxpayer. By the way, like, how come this is where I don't know where all this scam all came in, but listen, guys. The Federal Reserve is owned by a family. It's a privately held corporation. The Federal Reserve has a building that we pay for, but yet they loan us money to the tune of $30 trillion, charging us interest while taking $4.5 billion of our own money to build their building to then loan us money and then charge us interest for the money that they loaned us. Is that like me taking money out of my right pocket and putting it in my left pocket? Isn't the Federal Reserve us? No. You're wrong. No. See, isn't that crazy how it's like we think but that is a non-government agency. Yes, there is an appointed seat by the president, but that's kind of it. Now, I don't know who got to think of that first or wherever it was, but congratulations. Finding a way to loan countries money and then charging them interest and then they tell you thank you. Cool. I'm just making up this money and you keep telling me thank you. And you keep saying that the money's worth more and then I keep telling you thank you. And I'm just giving you the money that you asked for, but then charging you interest with the money that you asked for from me, but that's really your money, but then you guarantee the money, but that's stupid. Like, think about that. We guarantee the money that we're borrowing from a company that is privately held, but yet it's the money that the country uses that we... The IG has the authority to hold the Federal Reserve accountable for American taxpayers. I expect a comprehensive report in short order and am confident that the outcome will assist in resolving once and for all the question that led this office to issue subpoenas. Accordingly, I have directed my office to close our investigations as the IG undertakes its inquiry, so that's been shut down. So basically, I don't think they shut any... Okay, the Department of Justice shut it down so the Inspector General can... So the Inspector General can go do an investigation, but the Department of Justice, you don't want them doing an investigation? Cool. Whatever, bro. Powell is under fire for costs of renovating the Fed D.C. headquarters, the cost ballooning from $1.9 billion to $2.5 billion. I've had it up closer to $4 billion. Like, there's some other numbers out there because here's a problem. It's like two different projects, and then there's one, but then there's another, and it's like they're trying to, like, and then they keep, I don't know. There's some accounting stuff. There's some hocus pocus going on. We're going to call that magic. Yeah. Anyway, Powell has asked the central bank's inspector general to conduct an additional review on the ongoing renovation. CNN previously reported last month some Senate lawmakers grilled Powell over what they depicted as lavish upgrades to the D.C. headquarters. Now, guys, I've built $500 million projects. I've signed $2.5 billion contracts. I don't know what like, to put that into the building that they're building, like, the building would be nothing but dollar bills. Like, you could just make the building out of that money. There's so much money that you could build the building out of the dollar bills. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know where these guys can spend this money in that little space. Like, even if you're really, like, going out, like, you're really going all out. I mean, you were going, like, it's the most expensive tile, stone tile, marble, dirt-ba-doo, whatever, this most expensive, American high carbon steel from the, Smiths of Pittsburgh and the best, I mean, even if you're, like, the paint that comes out of the eye ducts of an elephant, well, I don't know. But to say that you spent that much in just an office building, man, you're killing it, dude. And it's just a renovation. You're not even building the building. You're just re-renovating. You're putting paint and lipstick on it. Lipstick on a pig, boys. What are we doing? That's pretty impressive. So, yeah, okay, that article came out better than I thought it was. I was worrying about just oh, no, yeah, we're letting them go. Cool. Okay, yeah, we're done. We're not going to do that thing anymore. They're doing it. They're just doing it from a different angle. And I think it is because they ran into something that an IG will have better authority and greater consequences. All right. Continuing on. How foreign interference and nonprofit industrial complex stole the 2020 election. What are you talking about? That doesn't make sense at all. It was the most safe and secure election on earth. How could... clasping my pearls. You're telling me that there could have been something out there that we've been revealing and talking about for 10 years was true the whole time for the last 10 years. Billionaire progressive Democrats and quiet socialists operating out of an American organization called the Democracy Alliance has created a vast, interconnected, multi-state nonprofit infrastructure. It's made up of individual, hand-picked nonprofits that are personally vetted by DA, the Democracy Alliance leadership, to become a part of their private and secretive American progressive nonprofit network. Nonprofit? No, because they're just spending portals. They're not making a profit by spending money on signs and paying people to riot at BLM. Oh, that's all coming out big time, too. That's all looping back around. It's coming. The progressive Democrats and quiet socialists who themselves have handpicked to join the secretive club each have their own nonprofit investment portfolios. So if you get to be a part of the DA, the Democracy Alliance thing, well, you get to have some of your own, and then you get to have other pet projects, pet things too. So it's cool, man. Like, you get to have like things that you're doing, and then other people are doing things that you want them to do, and like you're cool and stuff. Man, I really miss my calling here. Could have been one of those. So the club rules require them to invest a minimum of $200,000 a year into its American progressive nonprofit infrastructure. What's their return on investment? A vast, coordinated national network of interconnected, hardline progressive nonprofits which they control. So you get to go in, you do your little donation, like, hey, I'm going to go $200,000 here, but I get to go out here and do all this havoc. It's like they get to go into one of those smash rooms when you get to go take a bat. You have a sledgehammer or a baseball bat, and you get to smash vases and sheetrock and mirrors and glass and do all that. One of those. It's kind of like a rage room or something. Well, see, what they get to do is they get to have all this money, and then to stimulate themselves, they go out and create riots. Shit. What are we doing here? Like, what is this? Like, this is a whole nother one. Democrat Alliance conferences. And now here's the wiki thingy of it, right? The Democrat Alliance is a collective of wealthy Democrats and left progressive individuals and institution donors hosting semi-annual conferences for its members and guests. Described as a major gathering of the institutional left, the conference primarily serves to connect progressive left-leaning donors with similar-minded activist groups. Money and the dummies, go out, tear things down. We'll pay you to do it. Cool, you. Just don't do it on my street. I live over here. Go over there. Wow, that's cool. And let's see, Joe Schaffelstat, Schoftel, a journalist formerly with the Washington Free Beacon, now with Fox News, who investigated Democracy Alliance activities for years, uncovered from Democracy Alliance partner and board members' names. A search at the Free Beacons yield some DA names as well. So Democracy Alliance, leaders of the Democracy Alliance vetted nonprofits. These are hardcore advocates, extremists they'll do anything basically. This is like, rules for radicals, from democracy or from dictatorship to democracy, the democracy playbook. Wow, these are all just like these elite progressive Zionist. Zealots actually implement the socialist principles and tactics these training manuals teach. So they go in here and do the democracy playbook, the whole rules for radicals. That's what and they live in this country. Like, they're doing this like in the boat that they live in the middle of the ocean. They're shooting holes in the boat you're living in and they're living in. It's their life too. Many of the nonprofit leaders are themselves progressives, and their usefulness to the movement has been proven. They organize as needed, effective, loud, obnoxious, and sometimes violent grassroots street actions, and present earnest testimony at state houses promoting, for example, the last election integrity legislation, pushing. Okay, listen. So it's the paid actors, right? We talk about this all the time. So the paid actors are like the people you'll see that they just, again, what this is going back to, well, remember this lady? She was at this one, and she was at this event, and then she was at this event. She was at this Kamala Harris rally. And so when they were saying that 70% of all the rallies that Bernie Sanders and Kamala Harris and Joe and all these other people were having, 70% of each of those participants that were there were at every single other event. In other words, they were paid actors to be at the Bernie Sanders. They were paid actors to be at the Kamala. They were paid actors to be at the Joe. And that's what I'm talking about. This is part of that. They pay people to show up. And why do I know that? It's not because I went out and hand counted them and they told me, oh yeah, I've been to 5 of these. Because they did that whole bolo thing around the cell phones. And 70% of the attendees, the 70% of the cell phones in each of the event were identical. So the cell phones were traveling from here to here to here to here. And we're talking across the entire country, not from one county to the next, not in the same state. We're talking across the country, and they're showing that it's like 70% are just paid actors. So when we think about the opposition we're really up against, are we up against real people? Or are we up against fictitious sock puppet people who think that they're doing something great by being paid to tear down their country? But I will go with this. The psychology of this really makes me wonder if not some of this is actually necessary to get conservatives to actually get up and do anything. The fact that conservatives will just lull themselves to sleep because they don't want to get involved, but maybe the aggravation, the burr in the saddle of the left constantly agitating, maybe 2 extremes, yes, but maybe that's what keeps conservatives, people who want to maintain a straightened path, not one that wiggle woggles wherever way you feel, but they want to be in a straightened path. Maybe that's the GER they need to make sure they maintain that. And I know there are people that need that in life. They need to be challenged just to bother to get involved. So I don't know. Maybe some of this is necessary. Well, continuing on with this article about this is all, again, this is psychological operations. But it's done with physical money and physical people and real signs and real bodies and real deaths. Many of these nonprofit, okay, so I got that part. Dave Brock, the Democrat media operative with Media Matters for America, MMFA, who specializes in viciously attacking conservatives, stated over the last 20 years, Democracy Alliance was the sole reason why sustainable democratic infrastructure got built. So Democracy Alliance, he's saying that they gave them enough money, kept propping them up so they could actually start to build something on their own because they weren't doing it on their own. They weren't conservatives who had money and jobs who could actually go out and do things and create rallies and spend money on Make America Great hats. No, they had to have special donors who were pulling money out of the government to prop them up. They didn't want to spend their own money. They got grant money. They got George Soros money. They got $2 billion from the EPA. Gap Tooth got that. I don't understand how that lady got that. The lady in Georgia. But see, that's a problem. $2 billion went out to that lady. What's she going to use that? What elections is she spending that on? Stacey Abrams got $2 billion from the EPA. And she's not doing EPA work with it. Seems to be some money in that. Hey, Courtney Allen. Courtney says, Jim Price, you need to host the Crowds on Demand Founder. Oh, definitely. Well, let's get... I did. I did, Courtney Allen. I was one of the very first that got him on. I had him on like a year ago or whatever it was. I actually had him on way before he hit that whole circuit last year. But yeah, definitely. No, this is all very real. And again, there's people who have jobs doing this. They coordinate this whole thing. It's all out there. Courtney says, sorry I'm late. It's been a hard day moving all of Rocky stuff out of where it's been the last month. Wasn't ready to move out, but it's time. And I understand, Courtney, so I hope that you are able to do your best. And so sometimes we got to remember that we put things into the future about things, people, events into our future mind. And our future mind is out here building a future for us all the time. We're already thinking about a little bit about Christmas already, and Thanksgiving and Halloween and 4th of July and the New Year's and the election. So we've already got a future out there. And if some of those things are taken away or someone's taken out of that future memory, imagine that's a future memory. It hasn't happened yet, but you've already building it out. When you take some of that out of there, that is really hard for the brain to have to put that back together. And sometimes the willingness of the brain does not want to put it back together. But that love, that image, that event, those things, when they're taken away from you, that future's taken away out of that future memory, your mind has to rewrite that. So those things are tough. All right. In 2017, the MMFA, like the Brennan Center for Justice, was one of the DA's high-impact progressive organizations. High-impact progressive organizations. In its core investment portfolio, of its recommended organization. So again, they had like, hey, these are the ones, guys. These are the ones getting some things done. These are the hot spots where we want to be. They know where to go. They're coordinated. They're doing a good job. Yeah, I like it. It's good stuff, man. Good stuff, even though I've been talking about Act Blue for 10 years. Act Blue. I've been talking about Act Blue for 10 years. Act Blue. Oh, what is that? Well, it's where all the union dues go, but that's where they also use that as a pinwheel for BLM money and Tifa money. It's all in the records, and they fully display it to you. They don't care that you know. They don't care. Look up Act Blue. Look up their records. Look up their credentials. Look up what they spend money on. Look at their tax returns. These are the elite hardcore nonprofit capos, the skilled professional zealots who actually lead operations, putting together hand-picked teams of nonprofits with specialties needed for successful, large, and complicated operations. Oh, so love. This guy, guys, listen, this is not a Post-it note organization. They're not doing this on a whim. It's not something they're going to do on Friday and not do again next year. Like, this is a business operation. There is profit and loss. There are bank accounts. There is payroll. There is money spent at Home Depot. We got bricks being dropped off. How many times over the last 10 years have we seen the bricks in the street? How many times over the past 10 years have you seen the rocks? How many times over the last 10 years do we see those people that agitated and started breaking windows out of nowhere? Just like January 6th, just like all those riots during BLM, just like the church fire in D.C., all these things, we know there were special agitators. January 6th was full of them, guys. I'm looking at a number somewhere I believe is in the 600 agitators in January 6th. And that is more than enough to change the mood and the flow of an entire group of people. They know that psychological operations can be done with less than 1%. You can get entire groups of people in a crowded room to do things with 1% adaptation. If you get to 3, it is a 100% success rate. 3% adaptation in any group allows for a complete swing in any group feeling, how things are going, it's very easy to do. That's why they needed that with the whole shutdowns. They just need you to shut down. They just need to sue. How many of you actually really would give in, really give up? Who gave in? Who gave up? Who bent the knee? Right? Let's see. Let's go on. A few of these charitable political weapons needed to be highlighted in their egregious repeated attacks upon Trump over the last 4 years. Let's see. One, CREW, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington. That's CREW. That's what that acronym means. Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington. God, it's just so busy. Co-founded by Norm Esteen Esquire. If you got to use Esquire, then you're a tool. The ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union, 54 locations. These are the ones that were weaponized against Trump. Move On, according to the CRC, describes itself as the largest independent, progressive, digitally connected organizing group in the United States. The Brennan Center attacks against Trump and his policies from these hard left. NFP, our legend. So NFP, I don't know what NFP is an acronym for. Working Families Party, the WF. I don't like. God, this is so. Who thinks of these names? I don't. I got to get my own nonprofit name. I don't know what that is, but I got to come up with. Like, there is some really there's. I don't get it. And people are like, oh my gosh, that sounds like a great. You guys are. You can sound just. You want $1 million? Working Families Party, the WFP, is not a nonprofit, but a socialist political party no one's ever heard of. Thank you. I did not. So founded in New York State in 1998 by the infamous criminal and now bankrupt Acorn. Oh, I totally forgot about it. That was the Uncle Barry thing. Remember Acorn? Oh, I do. And I remember all the big red flags about the Association of Community Organizations for Reform Now. Obama, Uncle Barry was big tied into them. Oh, yeah. Don't worry about that. He's a cool guy. Didn't do anything wrong. These are all my opinions. I don't know what I'm talking about. I play a doctor on TV, not one real life. I have no idea what it is. Blah, 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 blah. So this is what's crazy about this. Okay, so it has secretly taken control of the NYS Democrat Party, though neither party would admit to the fact that as it serves both of its interests. So that New York State, this is what they're dealing with, guys, is that the fact is that there is this because people want to belong. And sometimes they want to belong even if it's bad. And they know it's bad, but those people are walking up to them and talking to them and letting them just, and so they start doing the blue hair, they do the septum piercings, and they do all the weird stuff, and they just want to be a part of something. And the sad part of it is we can't be a part of a family. We can't be a part of a community. We've got to go do things that'll tear apart, which really is what we're tearing apart, what really creates the emptiness in each of us, which is wanting to belong. Everything that these people are doing is they're tearing apart the very thing that they want to fill up. Is that emptiness in their heart because they don't have the family, they don't have the father, they don't have the mother that love each other, they don't have the extended family of cousins, and they don't have that family reunion, they don't have that this, and when everybody shows up to the wedding, it's not 2 or 3 people, but it's 200 or 300, and most of the people didn't show up. There wasn't enough parking. I mean, that's what family really should look like. That's how far we should really go, and that's how hard we should really seek out that. Because it's really what we're all seeking. And all of these little groups that are out there doing this hate stuff because they think that that's going to fill that void. They think if they go out and take it from somebody else, they'll take someone else's happiness, then that will make my happiness better. And I don't think the ever gets there. And I don't even think the better gets there. It's exciting, it's purpose, it belongs, but it's not the belong that makes it last. Because we don't do family anymore, but God, hell, family sucks, man. Family's the worst. They're the ones, they're the problem, not me. I've got this emptiness inside of me, and I need this to be filled by something. So I'll go out and do things where I feel like I belong, where someone hears me and listens to me, even though nothing I say makes sense because it's just feelings. Many of these organizations themselves have their own gigantic hardcore progressive Democrat memberships. Invisible, Demos, Central for American Progress, Catalyst, and the Working Families Party, WFP, are some of these examples. There's Resist, Five Calls, the ACLU, Advanced Projects, American Votes, American Oversight, American for Financial Reform, Amplify, Ballot Initiative, Strategic Center, Brennan Center for Justice, Caring for Generations, Catalyst, Center for American Progressive, Center for Community Change, Center for Popular Democracy, Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, Crew, Clasp, Color of Change, Corporate Backers of Hate, coworkers.org, and that was just through the C's. These are in alphabetical order, and it goes all the way through Z. But what I was pointing out is that there's a lot of these groups out there, and there's a lot of people spending a lot of money only because they want us fighting and not us worrying about what they're doing to us either physically, emotionally, spiritually, or financially. We're giving up a lot of money and a lot of power to people who are just creepy, who got nothing else better to do but want to spend money on how to make your life worse. And they know they're doing it for that purpose. But we don't stand up. We don't give up. We don't go over there and try to do something. We don't try to be those people that say, oh, well, not today. I'm not going to do that anymore. See, this is where we have an opportunity that actually we can see these things, and then we just don't do that. I like the idea of when a lot of people say, well, we ought to just, don't do that. Well, I think that's a great idea. There was a Maury Povich interview with Joy Reid, and she actually said that the Democrats don't play politics. They don't do hurtful things. They're not those kind of people. The Republicans are. And I really thought I thought she was going to lead it in with some sarcasm. There's a little, sometimes they'll do a little of that tongue in cheek but the amount of conviction that she really had, it was breathtaking. And I would say to be able to believe something that is that fictitious, but in that genuine of a way, that is amazing. You talk about that, and when we say like the delusion, like you say, like delusion, like I'm seeing things, making things up, cognitive dissonance. This is a cognitive dissonance, delusional moment, what this woman says, and that's a pretty hard. I feel like I'm saying that pretty hard. I'm not trying to be mean, but I am trying to make a point here. I don't know. All right, just watch what she says here.
Well, first of all, Democrats do not play politics the way Republicans do. The difference between the parties, they do not. They do not.
Please.
Democrats play by the Marquis de Queensberry rules. I think.
The what? Marquis Progressed. I don't know what she just said, but here, listen again. Here we go.
Democrats play by the Marquis de Queensberry rules. I think they do not. They're not rule breakers.
Oh my God!
What's been fun?
You're trying to tell me
they're not.
If the Democrats take the Senate,
I would hope
2027.
I hope
in 2027, and Alito retires, and Trump names a Supreme Court justice, that the Democrats are going to have hearings and actually confirm him?
I think they will.
Or her?
Because they don't
Not a chance.
I don't think that they play. Like, can you imagine Chuck Schumer doing any of the things Mitch McConnell did? Of course not. They couldn't even hold out on a government shutdown because 8 of them turned tail and gave in. Democrats capitulate and they try to play by the rules. Republicans don't care about the rules. They rewrite the rules.
Okay, guys, I'm going to do this last little part right here. I want you to listen to that part right there again. Okay, where are we at, Joe?
On a government shutdown because 8 of them turned tail and gave in. Democrats capitulate and they try to play by the rules. Republicans don't care about the rules. They rewrite the rules.
I don't know how you, the Democrats play by the rules. Guys, listen, I'm not... I do think that Republicans may or may not have the ability to, but I don't think they take the chance. I understand that people believe that the Republicans have it in their gut to do these things, but I just don't see it. I'm sure there's people out there that've got some moxie and have done some things and killed some people, whatever it is. But I mean, guys, what are you talking about? Like, this is not even making sense anymore. It really is as if I have dropped into another timeline, and I'm in the timeline where, like, this chick is telling me that everything I've lived up to this point, and understand that suddenly I'm in here, and then she's over there, oh, yeah, and she's acting like she's the Republican in the story, like, I just can't believe the Republicans are so violent and rule breakers. The Democrats are just trying their best. Like, that's the stuff that I say, right, about Republicans, that we're trying our best, but the Democrats are always out there breaking a law. Hey, call me on it. Sue me. Oh, if a police officer mishandles you, now you got to go spend money to sue him. Because, you have no legal recourse because you have to have the money to go get justice. Anyway, guys, this is where we got to, I just feel like I'm in opposite world with this chick. I don't understand where she can say this and with a straight face go, that's what we're doing here. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, we're playing it by the rules, man. We're just trying so hard to just be so obedient to Jesus and all of his teachings. I mean, we're even sacrificing the lamb. Oh my God, the Holy Spirit upon me. What? You're not white as driven snow here, ma'am. And of all the women on earth, to say this after what I've listened to her say on her show and on other segments and other sound bites of the things that she has come up with, they're just like, how can she talk like this? Like, she's like, oh, I can't believe that the Democrats are being accused of falsifying anything. We've been nothing but driven snow. We are so pure. What are you talking about, lady? Like, how many shots did you take? Now, that is a side effect of the vaccines, guys. Listen, that is not a Jim Priceism. That is a literal one of the VAERS. Is that you have cognitive dissonance. You reject reality. And it's not me, like, I'm not rejoicing because I don't want people running around rejecting what they can see. Getting angry and violent and rejecting what they've seen. They literally are acting out in violence to say, no, that is not real. Maybe that's why we're having these problems. Is because people really are in an altered state from those medications. Hell, statins and cholesterol medications are mood altering. Just look them up. They have effects on your ability to compute, to react, to have memory recall. They're not just free, like, oh, my statins are great. No. Golly, guys. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. It's been great to see you. It's been a great week. All the good stuff going on out there. Enjoy your weekend. I am going to be over with Larry and Tony, this Fresh Mouth guys, over at the Women's Fair in Wichita this weekend, selling the sillygnome.com, PSYLLY. GNOME, sillygnome.com, sillygnome.com mushrooms there. We are there. Got some samples. You guys want to stop by and try them out. Guys, looking forward to seeing you so much. I don't know what I'm seeing. All right, guys, that's going to be about it. Remember, the 10%, that's about it for me. Remember the 10% we do for our neighbor, community, city, county, state, the federal government. The more you do for them, the less they do for you. Learn how to be selfless. And not so damn selfish, the world will be a far, far better place. Remember, hold the line, hold fast, do not give up, do not give in, we'll win. I promise I make promise I can't keep, guys. You've always been the answer out there. Remember that Constitution, well, that limits the government, but never limits you. You've always been the answer, and understand that you have the authority. Do not give authority over those people that do not belong to, they don't belong in that position. It's actually very easy. It's a lot easier than we realize, but we don't want to put forth that effort because sometimes if we have to put forth effort, we might be wrong. And being wrong is hard on our ego, right? All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for everything, guys, joining. I'm Jim Price, the Jim Price Show Daily Update. You guys will be good to each other out there, and I will see you guys on Monday. Bye-bye.